All right, welcome back. We are going to build a snare drum in this lecture, and it sounds a lot like this. And I'm going to start a new sound. It's this one's a little bit tricky, but with all the skills we have now, I'm sure we're going to be able to do it. So let's select for the first oscillator a triangle wave. Make sure your wavetable position is on the right for triangle. Activate the second oscillator. Choose Rough Math 1. Doesn't sound much like a snare just yet, but we will get there. And now let's move down to the noise generator. And I will choose the bright noise. And probably going to want the color down a little bit. But you can adjust that to your own taste later on. So now we're going to use some envelopes to make these oscillators move. Let's move on to so we're going to choose envelope number 1, and we are going to bring the attack level down, attack time down, sustain level goes up, and shorter decay, probably about like that. I'm also going to increase the release so I don't have to worry about the bite back. And I'm going to bring this into the amplitude of oscillator 1, modulate it downwards. Let's hear that without these. Okay, good. I'm also going to use that same envelope on the pitch, and I'm going to bring this pitch up to about 30 and then bring the modulation range down a bit. Oops. I want that little chirp. We're going to do the same thing with oscillator 2. Bring envelope 1 into the amplitude and drag this down. Just about like that to give us some tonality and a little bit of body movement like that. For the noise generator, we are going to use a different modulation source. Similar to the kick drum, if you remember that lecture, we're going to choose LFO number 5, bring it into the amplitude, and modulate downward. And we're going to choose the performer, and we're just going to clear these rows so we know what we're looking at. And now instead of using this upward curve, I'm just going to use a straight, full-on straight jump like this at about step number 4. It doesn't really matter if you use step 3 or 5, but I'll start it right there. Deselect this load curve button. And now my rate knob is going to control this gate that I have. I'm basically applying a gate to this amplitude. So let's hear just that noise generator. Turn this crossfade sequencer fader up. So that's what I want. I want it to come in straight away and then decay like that. The other thing I'm going to do is put this envelope onto this crossfade sequencer, create a full range, and then I'm going to open up this load curve again and create a straight across full amplitude like that because I don't want it restarting in case I hold my note too long. Actually, let's use a different envelope. And we'll do similar to envelope 1, but with a little bit of delay like this. A little bit more delay. Good. So that means that when I strike my note, it goes through this curve, but it doesn't go into the loop because I have a delayed envelope that's bringing this crossfader down to the bottom performer. You know, it's a little bit tricky. It's less delay. Just like that. A little bit longer decay. shorter decay. There we go. I'm holding my MIDI note down. I don't want it repeating like that. And I can also increase the rate here. So my gate's a little bit faster. And then you can also, as you're striking this, adjust the color of that noise. Depending on what you're looking for. So let's bring these oscillators back in. Now we've got something nice going on. I want to increase the decay of envelope 1 because I want a little bit more movement here. That's obviously too much. And I want a little bit of a faster ramp here. Now I've got a cool thing going on. I can change the amplitude of these to balance out the sounds. Now I'm going to insert a sine shaper to give a little bit more drive. And I'm going to choose the routing page. And I'm going to make sure that insert number 1 is after filter 1. And I'm going to send all of the noise to filter 1. I want that grittiness on that noise like that. And now let's set up a few other parameters. Choose the voicing page. And we're going to add a couple voices. To taste. If you want it really huge, you can add 4. And then just make sure you're turning your master down a little bit. And if you like to, you can assign the pan position unisono spread to spread it out a little bit. Now make sure that we're choosing mono, rotate, and legato on these voicing parameters. Now I've got a pretty cool snare sound. If you want to increase this rate a little bit, you can adjust that to taste. And there are a few other things that we can do too. We can assign that same quick dropping envelope to the color wheel. If you want it to drop in color a little bit, or even it can raise. That gives you a little bit of a pop. And we can also try these different effects like the classic tube. If you want to just warm it up a little bit. Or the dimension expander to make it larger. You can also assign insert number 2. You can use a sample and hold. And in your routing page, I would put it maybe over here. You can hear some of the resolution changing there. It's kind of cool. So now we've got a pretty good snare sound going, and you can tweak these parameters to your own taste and play around with that. So that is snare synthesis. Try playing with different wavetables, try adjusting some of the inserts, and applying some filters to change it up a little bit. And we will see you in the next lecture.